What is up, everybody? This is Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, joined as always by my co-host Andrew. Don't get it twisted, Lapachet, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, or Mad Boxing for short. Thank you once more for stopping by on this toasty Sunday evening. Yes, we are rapidly approaching the hot summer months, even though it's still spring. Technically, like the first day of spring was yesterday or the day before that, and it is already in the 90s over here in Vegas. So makes me want to stay indoors. But we are, as always, recording on this lovely Sunday evening on my end, at least. Yes, it is, again, as I mentioned, toasty. I make sure that I always try to close the blinds to make sure that I don't get any heat in because it gets freaking hot in my room while I record. But we appreciate you guys stopping by and listening to us rant about the inner workings of professional boxing and the news that pops up during the week. We did have some fights yesterday in neighboring weight classes. We had Carlos Adames in action on DAZN against Austin Williams. We're going to be talking about that fight because it is relatively, I guess, relevant considering the neighboring weight classes, 154 and 168. We're going to be talking about that. And then, of course, a 168 fight took place on that we were able to find on YouTube, actually. Pro Box TV had Lester Martinez on, and his fight. We're going to be talking about that one. Won't take too much time on that one, of course, because it was primarily the main events that were good. But we're still going to be talking about them because, again, they are in weight classes that are somewhat hop and popping. Well, we're also going to be talking about some other information here in regards to Oscar De La Hoya. Holy hell, looks like there's some sort of announcement coming up here very soon, later this week. Oscar seemed to be in great spirits on social media, so it seems as though something is going his way, and very strange behavior by one Rick Mirigian on his social media accounts that we're going to pinpoint. Doesn't seem like things are going in his direction either. He talked about being undefeated outside of the ring. Maybe that's another round for Oscar. We're going to talk about that. And then more information regarding the possible Boots Ennis and Xander Zayas fight that seems to be advancing. At least that's what DAZN said. So we're going to be talking about the possibility of that one. And another little side note that I want to add to that one, because it seems as though things are kind of falling into place for one Xander Zayas. But again, as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about that momentarily. And more Dana White and Zuffa news. More information we're getting on what he plans to do with Zuffa and their Sunday events. Definitely not letting UFC fighters cross over to boxing, according to him. So we're going to talk about that because kind of stinks. I feel bad for some of those fighters sometimes, but that's a broken record, as beating a dead horse at this point. Unfortunately, those guys are in the position that they are in. But regardless, we are going to be talking about that. So before we get into all of that, as usual, I want to toss in a quick word from our sponsor. Let me see if I can bring the sticker up here without getting it too fucked up. Healthy Soul. Damn, that glares too much. Healthy Soul. Telo-based products. Make sure to check them out. If you happen to find anything you like on their website, Health eSol or Health YSol, make sure to use the checkout code MADBoxing10 at checkout and get 10% off of your purchase, or follow the affiliate link that's going to be in the description of this video as well and get the same 10% off. As I mentioned, usually every show, lavender patchouli is my favorite, and it's a soap in particular. So make sure to give them a try, Health eSol, and make sure to get 10% off your purchase. Use that code. Alrighty, so we're going to get crack-a-lackin' with the one or two major fights that took place this weekend. Carlos Adames, the middleweight WBC middleweight champ, kind of finds himself in a very unenviable position here. He had a fantastic fight with Austin Williams. Man, Austin Williams can take an ass whooping. Holy hell. He was in there for the whole 12 rounds, and it looked like he really didn't have an answer. That first round, it looks like the first round was really it. It was just that jab that he was landing on Adames, and for whatever reason, he just wasn't able to keep Adames off of him, and Adames went on to win a unanimous decision, win by unanimous decision, holding on to his WBC middleweight championship in a fun fight. Although it was pretty one-sided, it was still fun for the few times that that Austin Williams was able to get some offense going. Although it came in just bursts, right? It wasn't like consistent, and seemed as though throughout the fight, Williams was able to put on some offense, enough to keep Adames off him, at least for those few moments. And then basically once he was done with that, it was Adames taking over as he does But that kind of leaves him, as I mentioned, in a bit of an unenviable position because middleweight is kind of bleak right now. You know, you would think that with as many fighters there, that he would have plenty of opponents. He's kind of in a weird position because one of the other champions is trained by his trainer, and I'm talking about Erislandy Lara. So he kind of finds himself in a weird spot here. But before we get into what is potentially next for ADAMES, Andrew, you caught this fight right. You were able to catch his victory over Austin Williams and keeping his WBC middleweight championship. So we're going to get crack-a-lacking with that first. What did you think of the fight? How did you enjoy it for the full 12 rounds? And what did you see in ADAMES' victory over Williams?
I enjoyed the fight until about round 7, maybe. Round 8, then it started feeling like a broken record. And I'll tell you why. Austin Williams always had a chance to win because he was hurting him with the left hand.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he was ever going to get the finish. Without it being a one-punch knockout, he did not have enough in his tool bag to stop the experienced Carlos Adames. It just started feeling that way. Not only did he did not have the right tools, and I'll tell you which one he was missing, he didn't have the stamina to go the distance, right? Throws three fucking a flurry of punches and dude gets dead tired. Oh, it was killing me. Miguel, we were rooting for the underdog.
Sure,
right? Rooting for him. We're cheering. I see that he has his moments. He hurt him twice early. Where the hell is his right hand? You know, Kevin Cunningham, that's his first name, right? Kevin Cunningham, I believe?
Yeah.
All right. He really did himself a disservice last night having his fighter so unprepared with the right hand. I never thought of him. I never thought he would have, I can give him the credit for bringing the young man. I don't know if you ever remember Cunningham's gym, but he had the gym where he had like 9 amateur fighters and they either all ended up dead or in prison, and he only had the one young man make it to who is the guy that made it to the welterweights? I was dying on his name last night, and I never looked it up. Shame on me. He fought Timothy Bradley, bro. Alexander.
Oh, Devin Alexander. Okay. Yeah, Devin Alexander.
Fuck, that came to me on the fly right now. It was killing me last night, dude. I was telling my son about Cunningham, about his gym, right? Because that was the story.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, remember? That was the story with Devin coming up. I think even his brother got whacked out there in St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, is where they're from. So I get that side of Cunningham's story, and there's a good chance that Williams is coming from that same background, right? Kind of looked at. They said he didn't have a big amateur background. He's with a trainer who trains these type of guys from the street. So that I love. But he was one punch away from being a world champ last night. Are you fucking kidding me? And we can't do a right hook. We can't do a body shot. I mean, he was in perfect position to land so many punches with his right hand without having a right hand. He threw a jab, and you guys don't get it twisted. He threw a right hook every blue moon, but it wasn't the consistency that he needed to win that fight. And Adames was ever able to withstand his left hand, even when he was hurt, get out of trouble, come back. And because a young man didn't move his head, didn't have a lot to offer defensively, he really didn't have a lot to offer in the ring, but a chin, a heart, and a lot of dog in him, right? That's probably the same as Hart. But that's really... I try to give him 3 things. He probably only had 2.
I just split that up into 2 things. It's like the heart of the dog. That's the same thing. Like, no, it's 2 different things in my opinion.
But that's what I seen, dude. So later in the fight, it was getting kind of like I was kind of screaming at the TV more than cheering. Throw it right. I'm trying to will the right hand out of myself and through the TV, Miguel, because it was a single punch that the young man needed, and he would not throw it. And when he didn't throw it fucking enough. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so it was a good fight. Look, Carlos Adames is he's Lara, man. These guys are ready to cash it in. I don't think they want to cash it in with each other. That's why no one's left their trainer, because they're like, nah, you don't call me out, I won't call you out. We're gonna wait for some big money to come up, and we'll both just send in our retirement papers. So I think that's why we haven't seen a big push for Lara versus ADAMES yet. If they did, I would have Lara a favorite, I think, bro. I don't know. I just wasn't that impressed. Now, I know ADAMES has been out of the ring for over a year, something like that. It was quite a extended period of time that they said on the months that he's been out of the ring. So I know he had a little bit of rust in him, but I honestly think Lara gets the knockout last night on a one-handed Austin Williams. Because of Williams, he could not take a body shot. ADAMES needed to press that straight jab to the body a lot more. Come over the top of the right hand that never moves, right? The head that never moves. Just keep setting the same thing up. He kept setting up the right hand. He was probably missing the body shot to really bring down the hands and end that night. Lara being such a sharpshooter and a technical fighter, I think he eats right through that kid Williams. Yeah, so I would have Lara a favorite if they did match up. But who really wants to see that fight?
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable, and you can tell ADAMES' hesitance to want to call out somebody like Lara because they got the same guy right in their corner, and right off the bat he's like, oh, I can still make 154, I can move up to 168. Like basically avoiding that topic of potentially fighting, right? We talked about it. They talked about it at least with what was it with Johnny Beck, who got stripped. Well, at least as I understand it, he's got 2 belts, right? I think it was IBF and WBF. I'm trying to remember which specific belts. It might be the other one, the WBO or something. But anyway, point is, he got 1 strip for pissing hot, basically, and he got suspended. And as of right now, I think that belt's going to be floating around. And I think the other sanctioning body belt that he hasn't stripped him yet. So it's still, that belt is still on him. But with the suspension, it's going to be a while before we see him back in the ring. That would have been a badass fight. I would have been totally down with those guys, with ADAMES and Johnny Beck throwing down. It kind of seemed like that might have been the direction we're going, right? Because we were going to get Johnny Beck and Lara, and unfortunately that fight didn't happen because of Johnny Beck's issues. But it kind of stuck that we're in this position. But you can hear ADAMES' hesitance. He's like, oh, I can go down to 154. And don't get me wrong, if he goes down to 154, that weight class is stacked as it is. So that'd be crazy of him against anybody else. But he looks strong at middleweight. I don't see why he would. I mean, I see why, but it would be a bad idea, I guess, for him to draw back down to 154 after being at 160 for a little bit and enough to get himself a belt right at 160. Going up to 168 would probably be a bad idea. I don't think that would be beneficial to him, but he seems kind of stuck. There are other fighters, of course, no belt holders. I think Jesus Ramos is in that weight class as well. Not a belt holder or anything like that, but it seemed as though he knows he's in a spot where he's like, fuck, I don't really want to fight Lara, and I'm not going to call him out. So next best thing is, well, I can always go back down to 154 and 168. So he's kind of been in a bit of a pickle. And you hear it in the hesitation in his voice when it talks about potentially unifying with somebody else, because I'm sure he can pick up that other belt, the one that was stripped. I forget which one it was. It might be the IBF belt. I think that's the one that was removed or stripped. That Johnny Beck was stripped of. But yeah, he's kind of in a weird spot. I most certainly would not want to see him go in either direction. It's just one of those positions where, 2 guys, and you've talked about this before. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear when 2 guys, yeah, maybe they're friends, maybe they're homies, but it's like, yo, this is a fucking business. Let's go at it. And look, ADAMES is 31. I think Laura's 42. So I mean, it would basically be just Lara. Like, here you go, hand the fucking belt over, pass it on. Who else better to pass on the torch or pass that belt to become a unified champ than your fucking class, or your teammate, right? And the same team. Why wouldn't they want to make it? They can cash in like a motherfucker. I'm sure they can with a unification bout, but it seems like these guys, are that close that that's not going to happen. But it sucks that we're in this position again of guys like not wanting to fight each other because of how good of friends they are.
Yeah, and honestly, I think they're hoping for one of the boats to come back. right? And Terrence Crawford or a Canelo, just something that they throw them a lifeline. I think is really why they held on to those titles and didn't look to fight themselves, especially the Terrence Crawford angle. I think Lara's always hoped for maybe that rematch phone call in the middle of the night from Canelo being desperate, but just never came. But with the Terrence Crawford angle, Terrence should have cleaned up this division. Terrence is leaving a lot of money on the table, not coming back to middleweight, just to have that on his mantle too. That I became undisputed there. To give you a reason why Adames might have been screaming about moving to other divisions, his division's being eaten up by Zuffa pretty fast here, bro. They have Mike Walsh. They have Mike Walsh already ranked number 5 in the top 10 at middleweight, and then they have Conor Benn ranked number 4. And unfortunately, Conor Benn won't be on the market.
He's not going to stay on 160. You don't think he's going to stay at 160 though, right? I mean,
Conor Benn.
Yeah.
If Eddie Hearn gave him the right money to take up a WBC title, why not? Didn't his dad hold that title? That seems historic for me.
I think you're right. I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, that's historic for him. It's actually sad that he's not going that route, and I just brought that up without him even thinking about that. I've never even heard Conor Benn mention grabbing that middleweight title, but it's there to be grabbed. That's a payday that he totally dominates the ticket sales on. They can bring Adames to the UK. He's the A side. Adames is just bringing the belt. Maybe he wins, maybe he doesn't. He's going to get a pay raise. So they have, but what I'm trying to say is that fight's not going to happen right now, right? Because they probably have other plans for Conor Benn. So when you look at it, 2 of the top 5 guys aren't even on the ranking. The other guy, one of them is you. The other guy is just pissed dirty, and the other guy is in your stable.
Yeah,
middleweight's not looking too good right now for these guys with belts. So they're gonna have to move up. I went down to 154. Who's moving up? Honestly, I could tell you in the top 8 doesn't look like anyone anytime soon. These dudes are all young. Fundura, Zayas, Boots, Virgil Ortiz. These guys are all young. They're not going anywhere, and anyone else isn't the money that Lara and them are probably asking for. They need one of those big guys to move up, and those guys look like they're all at the age that they're staying. The last name, maybe, I don't know what you think, is Chris Eubank Jr. Adames versus Eubank Jr.
at super middleweight.
They have him at middleweight still.
Right, but I think that's one of the issues that Eubank was talking about with that rematch with Conor Benn, is that he had a weight drain to get back down to 160. So if 168 is kind of still on the radar for Adames, which it sounds like it is, I don't see a problem with him moving up to 168 for that one, because, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, because we did have another fight at 168 that was pretty fun to watch with Lester Martinez. But again, we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, at his age, 31, I don't think moving back down to 154 would be the right move. But moving up to 168, well, that's a little bit easier on the body. And yeah, Chris Eubank, that would be pretty good. I don't know. I know he's got some some issues outside of the ring, I believe it said, or maybe some health issues or something like that, right? Because I think he tweeted something out recently about kind of stepping away from the sport just a little bit to kind of get things back on track. And I have to assume maybe it has something to do with some of his personal issues or personal health issues. So, but I don't anticipate him, being gone for good. I'm pretty sure if he makes it back, they can certainly work something out with someone like Chris Eubank at super middleweight. I'm sure Carlos Adames would be hella down for that, I'm sure.
Do you know the young man fighting out of Los Angeles, but's from Ireland? His name is Aaron McKenna, yeah. 20
right off the hand.
20 wins, 0 losses, 10 knockouts. He's ranked top 10. Maybe that's a potential opponent. And the last guy that I see, dude, is this Jesus Alejandro Ramos Jr. He just beat Shane Mosley Jr. Yeah. 24-1-19. All Lara and them can do is hope that he has big money. Is he with Golden Boy? I'm just throwing that out there because of Shane Mosley Jr.
No, he's not with Golden Boy. It was, when did they fight? I think he's PBC, yo. I think it's
Okay,
because
well, let's.
when he fought Mosley, I want to say it was on the Laura one of the
Oh, you're absolutely right. You hit that one out the park. Joseph Spencer, Eric Lubin,
yeah.
his son Rosario.
Yeah.
This dude has wiped out the PBC. Who did he lose to? He lost to Lubin in a 12-round decision, but everyone else he's basically beaten in the PBC division. Hey, there's someone that maybe Al Heyman might want to throw. Hey, that's 2 belts. That gives Al Heyman a legit player in that division again. Yeah, it's decent. And then you can bring up Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia and Spence. I'm just playing now.
Let's just recycle the same ones. Porter's still around. Let's bring back Porter while we're at it.
Why like, I'll whoop his ass.
Yes. Why not? Just throw everybody back in here. Jesus Christ. But it was a fun fight, it did end up being one-sided, but I mean, we were kind of in the household, we do tend to root for the underdog. And I swear it was just, we were yelling for Austin to throw, the straight left, the same straight right that fucking Adames was landing. He could throw in his straight right, straight left, but he was just looping it. It was just very, very hook, and I don't know. As the time went on, it seemed like that punch was like weakening and weakening. If he would have just straightened it, maybe landed that straight left, I think that would have done some damage. In addition to the right hook, of course, because it didn't look like he had that at all. When Carlos dropped Austin, I thought, he cracks him one more time and he's going down again. Why don't you think he was able to finish him? Like, I thought he was that was it. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be a short night. But Austin survived. He did what he could. He backed up, but by and large, he was still taking punches. And my dad saw that. He was like, he should have been able to finish him. Why wasn't he able to finish him? Was it just that maybe Austin was just too fresh? It was too early in the fight.
Too fresh, and maybe a little of both, right? Too fresh and the ring rust plus age on Adames' part. Maybe his energy level came down late in that fight, right? And he's asking himself questions today about, can he do 12 rounds or was it just ring rust? But I think because he was out of the ring for so long, you've got to add the ring rust and age into why he didn't get that finish last night. He did everything to do it. He was throwing the right punches.
Yeah. Could have been power. My dad thought that. He's like, does this guy just not have the pop or what the hell? Because he dropped him. It was like, oh, damn, here we go. It's going to be an early night. And he was able to finish it. So what? Because he was throwing everything at Wilmington, everything. He could have gone to the body at least, but he was throwing every fucking power shot he could at Austin and wasn't able to finish him after he even hurt him. A few times he hurt him. My dad was like, does this guy not have any pop? What the fuck?
Yeah, no, and he does. I remember Adames having more power than he showed last night. That's why I'm leaning towards more of the ring rust and age. We won't know if it's more age than ring rust until his next fight. Because if he comes back at a decent time, now granted, this has been his pattern for like the last 4 years. Maybe that's catching up to him, Miguel. What didn't they say? He's only had like one fight since 21 or two. Did you catch that stat? They said some crazy ass stat about Adames only fighting once per year for like the last 4 years or something like that.
Oh, get out of here. I heard them say that it had been, I think, according to what I'm showing here, that one fight with, let me see here, with Hamza Shiraz, that was his last fight in February 2025. Yeah, before that was Terrell Gachet in June of 2024. Julian Williams, June 2023. Juan Macias Montiel, October 2022.
Is that crazy?
Yeah, Sergey Derevianchenko in December 2021. Yeah, I think 2021 was like the last year that he had like 3 fights that same year, and then one every year since. Oh,
how is he keeping these titles?
Well, I mean, it's a WBC belt. They let Charlo keep the belt for God knows how fucking long. So whatever, we like it.
Mauricio better double back on that, man. Even that's kind of, I don't know, I guess every single one of those fights are against number 1 contenders, right? He just makes his mandatory, then goes on to the next year.
I guess so. He just waits it out. It's like, all right, what next batch of number 1 contenders? Let's go. Let's get cracking. Yeah, I guess so. But and we're in March, so plenty of room to make another fight, right? At least 2 more maybe in 2025, or 2026. I mean, but I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. And he's going to be 32 here coming up in May, so time to pick it up. Adames, time to pick it up.
I definitely don't think Callum Walsh is ready for Lara or Adames. Connor Ben, possibly. But they're moving him. Where is he fighting Prograis at? 154 or is it 160? Regis Prograis.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Right?
Let me
Because
see
if it's at middleweight, dude, then that's going to be Connor Ben's path to his unification, being unified. It's going to be he takes on both of those guys in the UK. I'll call that tonight.
Oh, it's going to be a catch weight of 150.
Wow. So he's really trying to go back to 147 then, right?
It seems like it. Yeah,
it seems like he's. Man, I think that's a bad move for him. It seems like I would say I think Connor would be a favorite definitely against Lara because of age and style. He brings that aggressive, hell throwing a lot of shots where I just see Lara would be doing too much of this and not enough fighting. You know what I mean? And the points start adding up. And then Adames, yeah, I mean, Adames has power, even though he lacked it last night, but 60-40 fight I would have for Connor Ben in the Adames fight. I don't like that move. I would keep Connor Ben at he's ranked number 3. The 2 guys above him both hold titles. I keep him right there at middleweight and have him fight both of those guys. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good run for someone. There's some money to be made with those 2 titles. You got 2 decent names. Adames and Lara are both known on pay-per-view cards, right? Lara has done a lot for the PBC. Adames was just on a big card with Canelo, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was it
yeah, it was his draw with Shiraz, but I forgot what card it was.
Shiraz, there you go. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, the middleweights are up for grab. I just can't pick the fighter that they're going to do it with. I don't think it's Walsh. I don't think it's McKenna. Chris Eubank might not even be back. I like the Ramos Jr. Boachuk. He's there. It's definitely not going to be Zarafa from Australia. I think he's done with the little eye incident he had against Zoo.
Yeah. Well, there's the other one, Zoo. Tim Zoo. He's moved up. He's going to be fighting, I think, in April.
Is he at middleweight now?
At least his next fight will be at middleweight. That'll be his official first fight at middleweight, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I know that for sure. I don't know if this is the first fight at middleweight, but I know that this next coming fight will be at middleweight.
So Lara versus Zoo, Australia for the title. Adames versus who do we got?
Well, Ramos, I think we said, right? Ramos will be
Ramos. Nice. Okay, yeah, and then that's all PBC. Good connection there, bro. Good connection. Yep. Come on now.
They can. Al, you listening? God damn it.
Yes, man.
Where's our check, Al? God damn it. I guess we could just pretend that he owes us money like everybody else. Like, we're going to start sending tweets here left and right. Be like, what the fuck? Like, I'll say shit about Al. Damn it. Send us.
Where's my fucking money? that one jeweler guy. Have you seen that jewelry guy?
No, what jewelry guy?
Oh, dude, the guy that's at all the boxing matches. I think he did Floyd Mayweather a lot. He gets ripped off by some jewelers in New York, and he goes in, he grabs the guy, and he's like,
"Oh yeah." The one he kind of sneaks up behind him, right, or something like that, and like slams or something. Yeah, I remember that shit. Yeah. Oh, good lord. It's my money, and I need it now. No, that's a commercial from annuity. All right. Well, anything else on that before we move on to 8 pounds north of that?
No.
All right. So that takes us to the WBC interim super middleweight championship that we saw on Pro Box TV. That is the boxing scene event. You know, I'm hearing, I heard last week's show was pretty fucking badass. And then this week, this was at least main event was pretty sick. Like, people are like, yo, this is like a lot better than watching a fucking Zuffa card. Like, you should really check these guys out. I'm like, damn, have I been missing out? Because like I'll see the results, but I don't actually catch the show. And then I apparently last week's or the week before then, the most recent card before last night's was pretty solid, and I was like, oh fuck, I had no idea, but I see it online, I see the results, but I don't actually watch them. And then I'm not sure like where to. I've never actually looked for it. You know, the ones that I saw, or the card that I saw, the one that I sent you, was on YouTube, so I don't know if it was like live on YouTube. They could just log in and catch it there, or if they have to wait, you have to wait until the fight's over to go and catch it. But anyway, it was a pretty solid card, a pretty solid main event at least. Go ahead.
I totally wanted to agree with you on that. I've never given them the shot, right? And you sent me the fight. I watched it. Hey, look, I gotta give a shout out to Malinaji and Algeri. Finally, two guys that can call a fight and maybe just talk boxing and not have to cut each other down. You know, DAZN, they're getting their little insults are a little too much now. You know what I mean? Like it's sometimes it takes away from what's going on in the ring because it looks like they're trying to go back and forth at each other more about insulting. And another thing I'll say about the production of DAZN that I don't know if you caught. What was up with the gray background with the black letters looking real Zuffa, Matchroom looking real Zuffa?
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you look at
the
backdrop of DAZN, it was gray with black. I'm like, am I watching Zuffa or am I watching Matchroom that gets to do, the fighters get to do whatever they want when they come out? I don't know if that was Turkey saying he wanted to add something. You know, he did invest in the company. Does he have any say? You know, maybe to get us a little bit more used to just the plain colors, the plain walkout. So,
so you're talking about specifically when the fighters are walking down,
walking out, yeah. And then I think when they did interviews, yeah, if you look, it was a gray. It looked very Zuffa. That's what I said the whole night. Every time I seen it, I was like, oh man, what's Eddie doing here? I didn't expect Eddie to do that. I thought he would want to stay away from everything that looked Zuffa. But if it's his boss telling him, because seriously, I know both guys like to act like they're bosses, but right now everybody's working for Turkey, right? So that's where that goes. But back to Pro Box, yes, the ring looked cool. It looked professional. It did not look B-rated, right? Also, shout out to the ticket sales guy because they got some fans in that place, right? There was people cheering. It seemed like it was packed. It was a small venue, but we know in boxing it's hard to get a ticket sold, man, and they were doing it there. So yeah, I do agree with you. I was impressed going in last night to Pro Box. You're gonna have to give it more content on our show, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna start adding them to the calendar, to my fight calendar, because it's usually Matchroom on DAZN or Golden Boy on DAZN or something like that, right? It used to be ESPN with Top Rank, but yeah, I think so. Like I've noticed it, and then I don't know if you caught it, but the primary play-by-play dude on the mic is Mike Goldberg from the UFC days. That dude's been around for a long fucking time, like a super long time. He was with the UFC for a very long time, and ultimately, I think when the sale happened to TKO, he got the boot, and a bunch of other people got the boot. And
he's not the wrestling Goldberg.
No. That dude. Right. I mean, although he did do some commentating at one time, oddly enough. But no. Mike Goldberg. Yeah, they call him Goldie for short.
All right.
That'd be some crazy. Like, you're next. Spear that motherfucker on the mic.
And then we had UFC ref was reffing boxing last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, John McCarthy. Yeah,
that was crazy seeing him.
He's got some beef with Dana, so he's not doing any in the UFC. Whatever reason, they don't fucking like him anymore.
I remember that.
Yeah, so he's got some beef. He's still like part of the California State Athletic Commission. I just didn't know he reffed boxing.
Wasn't it that they started a new MMA thing and he went with the company, but it falls through, I believe, bro. I think Big John, like he went like as the face, right? Because he was pretty known when he first came out into the ring. What did he say? You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
And he says, "Let's get it on," right? All right. Yeah. So he did. I remember that. And then, yeah, I think that's what happened. And then it falls through, and obviously your bridge is now burned.
So. Yeah. You put a target on your back there. If it works, great. But if it doesn't, you're like, shit, gotta go back to work. Yeah, maybe not so much. But yeah, anyway, Mike Goldberg on the mic with this fight here. Lester Martinez, super middleweight, WBC interim champion, defeated Immanuwel Aleem. That one was a lot more closer of a fight than ADAMES and Austin Williams, but it was still a very fun fight. It was a slugfest, pretty much essentially what it was, which is what we kind of expect to see from Lester Martinez. And he main evented the card, which was fun. I think it was Long Beach. I think it was like Southern California. I forgot where they were last night, but it was Southern California is a fight town. Really, they always hosting fights there, and people show up. And it was a very good show. It was supposed to be a showcase fight, but Lester Martinez kind of got hit a lot more than I thought he was supposed to get hit, really. There were some shots that I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it didn't really look like he was hurt by any of those shots, but it just seemed like he got hit a lot more than he probably should have. And when he was able to take the shots from Christian and Billy in their draw. So I didn't think that at any point Aleem was going to hurt him or anything like that. But it's like, yo, don't risk it, man. There were a couple of times where his head was snapping back because Aleem was throwing his shots, and it just looked like he just didn't have the power, enough power to like hurt Martinez. And really, I mean, I don't know who does really at 168. The dude would look fucking solid. So he ended up winning, and I want to say, I don't know if it was like the interim championship was vacant at that moment, right? I don't think anybody had it, but he won it, and it was a big deal. He knelt down and cried and everything, and it was very interesting at the very end because he was interviewed by Paulie Malignaggi, and well, I guess I'm probably jumping ahead here, but before we get to that, here we go. Andrew, what'd you think of the fight? You kind of shot it down a little bit when I threw it to you earlier, but what do you think? What did you think of Lester Martinez's performance and, of course, the victory?
I like the performance. What did I shut down? No. It was a good fight. Look, I was happy for Bomac. I was happy how Bomac responded to his WBC coaching title. I thought he would have been like, "Oh, this is worthless. Don't expect a sanctioning fee from my guys."
Right.
But no, they seemed like they were all happy celebrating it. So all love. Lester Martinez, you've seen a lot of boxing in there, right? He was trying. It's all B-rated. It's B-rated stuff, bro. It's not the best of the best, but he had a few moments where he was showing up and he was shining. So I like the fight. He's undefeated. He's got to get his power back. It seems like as now they're picking up the opposition, now we're doing 12 rounds. We're getting draws, so we'd like to get him a showcase fight to get his confidence up with the knockout. But overall, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Wasn't that impressed with Immanuwel. Weird name. How they spelled that first name, bro. I was not thinking he was going to be born in America. I was like, wow, he's from New York. I was like, that's a crazy first name.
I mean, look, sometimes the spelling of some of these names, Dion Chantre, kind of those kind of names, sometimes it's a little bit, it's weird. It's like, it always reminds me of that Key and Peele skit where it's like, Balaki, like, hey, Ron, you done fucked up, hey, Ron, it's basically that. So I figured when I saw that, I'm like, and I wanted to make sure that I got the pronunciation right. So let me rewind it to the very beginning. They basically said it like, like Manny Pacquiao, Immanuwel, right? Immanuel. All right, cool. And then I saw that, I'm like, is that how? Okay, that's how they want to spell it then, I suppose.
Yeah. I just didn't expect them to be from New York. I thought I was going to say somewhere else, but that's fine. That's like, all.
Emmanuel Aleem from Nigeria. Like, no, I'm from Brooklyn. Like, oh shit, you're from Brooklyn, New York.
He's had a rough time with English teachers his whole life, bro.
You would imagine. It's like, how many times they have mispronounced his name during PE?
He could not be the bad kid in the class or they would fucking rail him for his name, dude. Like, if I was you, I would tone it down just a tad, young man.
Yeah, and it's funny because like that name, Immanuel in Spanish at least starts with an E, E as in Edward, not an I, like right. Immanuel. Like that's a new spelling for me. I haven't seen that one before, but
yeah. So that's funny. Look, last 4 fights, he was undefeated coming into this one. So he had 4 defeats, 3 draws. Not a great record overall, but coming in undefeated in his last 4 to take on Martinez. I didn't see anything that stood out that granted him the shot at the WBC interim title, but it is what it is. He got in there. Lester, to me, I didn't see it that close. I know at the end they were like, "This is a fast." I don't know. I wasn't out of my seat like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a tarnished fight fan, but
that's kind of what I was talking about shutting it down. And I was like, "Oh, that was a pretty good scrap." And you're like, B rated. I mean, it's totally B rated. It was a slugfest, really.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was the kind
Yeah.
we expect from Martinez, right? So we got what we thought we were going to get from him, but it most certainly wasn't elite, which kind of makes sense why he's the interim champion, I suppose. Huh?
Sense why he's that, and I don't want to pump his head up too much. He held his hands down and was getting hit a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's only glimpses of him actually doing the shoulder roll correctly or defending shots correctly. Then there's a lot of other instances where you're like, dude, these guys are gonna pick you apart, bro. Keep your hands up, freaking stick onto your defense, you know. So that's why it was very B rated. You look, the division they're in. I mean, like, I think Canelo beats him. You know, he's not ready for Canelo. Even the older Canelo, the sharp shooting Canelo, would pick him apart because his shoulder roll isn't superb at all, right? It's not perfect at all. So, Canelo, I'd have beating him. You know, Terrence Crawford, I don't know where he's at. He fought Shiraz, you said?
Yeah. No. It was Adames who had fought him.
Adames who had fought him. Okay, all right. So then, I mean, then he has Shiraz there. He can fight Shiraz. That's a decent fight, you know. Mm-hmm. He's a good fighter. He's got a good record. Could sell tickets. He packed the house in. Just move him up slow. I don't think he's ready for any of the big shots right now. I definitely wouldn't go Canelo unless you're looking to just get a payout real fast. But I didn't see anything like most of the time when you see Bomax fighters, you see that they're second to none, right? They're like a above everyone else. I didn't see that last night in Lester Martinez. He's a good fighter, but still very green. I wouldn't force him up too fast.
All right.
Not to Canelo. Not to Canelo.
Well, we'll talk about that here in a few seconds because it seemed as though that was the direction they were trying to go at least. So it sounds more like they're trying to cash him out. But would you attribute him, having his hands down, to just him like depending too much on his chin? Like it seemed like he was pretty sure, and it looked like it. They didn't look like what's his name? I'm trying to remember so I can opponent's name here. But what's his opponent's name? I already forgot. Oh, Aleem. His last name, Aleem. It didn't look like he had the power to hurt Lester, right? So I think could we attribute that to him keeping his hands down, saying like, all right, this dude can't fucking hurt me, so I'm gonna fucking just depend a lot on my chin.
Depend on the chin and most likely, I mean, look, the young man's from Guatemala, right? They said they've never had a world champion over there, so maybe his boxing is just second to none over there. Like, man, you're so gifted. You're gonna go to America and be the next Floyd, right? Because he's so far ahead of over there. So he might have been. He might be special where he's from, and that has allowed him to take this style. But like I said, as his opposition has went up so far in his last two fights, all of a sudden we have a draw and another 12-round decision, and his power didn't look tremendous last night.
Mm-hmm. Well, after the fight, he was interviewed in the ring by Paulie Malignaggi, who was doing a great job in Spanish, by the way. He was kind of doing, I don't know if you caught that, but he was actually asking Lester questions in Spanish.
Nice.
There was a little choppy, but it was very like conversational. You can actually have a conversation with him.
Italian is very similar, no?
It is, but does he speak it? I know he's of Italian descent, but does he speak any of it? I don't know if he's
I've from New York. He's from New York. He's Italian. I don't know. I'm gonna say his grandparents did.
Possibility, because it sounded pretty decent. It wasn't like it wasn't bad, but I was like when I heard him, because there was who the hell was it? Somebody else was there that I recognize his face. I can't think of his name right now, but who was doing some of the translating. But anyway, but so he did ask him this question. Paulie asked him about what was next, right? And of course, he said possibly the winner of Canelo and Christian and Billy, which I've heard rumblings of, but no like official anything. I believe Billy and Canelo were like I think they had taken pictures or something like that at the WBC convention a few months back or something like that. So it looked like that was the direction it was going, but I don't know. It just seemed like did that kind of slip out? Like maybe that wasn't news that was supposed to be out. Now, mind you, I did hear also from Paulie Malignaggi that Top Rank was going to go back to ESPN, which people thought that was actually going to happen. But obviously it didn't happen that way. But that's where I heard it. I was like, oh shit. Obviously, Paulie's in the know. So when he said that, I was like, wait a second, what? Is it official? Like I have yet to hear anybody say anything as in regards to Canelo and Christian and Billy. But it seems as though he's waiting in the wings, right? I mean, this is going to be pretty much next. They might throw him in there a little bit too soon, possibly. But anyway, have you heard anything about that fight actually taking down?
The only thing that I heard is it might be moved out of Riyadh. You sent that to me.
Yes.
Yes, you got to put that on the news. We'll bring that up later because it seems like Riyadh has done a little revamping of their events that will be taking place. Look, if he does get the winner of McBilly versus Canelo, they better get him one fight in between there, right? So they got to get him one fight, maybe two. Look, if Canelo wants a freaking 6 months layoff or something like that, doesn't want to fight him until May of 27, because I'm thinking McBilly he's going to take on in September. Correct? If the McBilly thing is right?
Yeah, as long as they get everything set. I mean, they already said he's going to come back in September, and it looks like Billy's going to be the first guy. So it looks like September, yeah, just not.
Yeah, so September. Yeah. So you're getting Martinez probably in May of 2027. Let's try to get Martinez 2 fights. The next fight, you're going to have to shoot kind of high. Try to get him something that you can gauge him against a fighter similar to the top 10. I don't know if you want to go top 10, but you got to shoot higher than what they did. And then right before Canelo, I'd give him a showcase fight, a little confidence boost. Someone you can walk in there and like the guy that Berlanga fight. Let's find that guy. Was it the garbage man?
Yeah, the hot dog vendor. I don't know. The guy selling the bacon wrapped hot dogs outside in the street tacos. That guy.
Right.
I'm sure he can finish somebody like that, right? Knock him down in spectacular fashion. I mean, it should have made Berlanga look like $1 million.
You keep him in training. You get him a test, and then you get him a showcase for a confidence builder, and then send him into the biggest fight of his life. But he's gonna have damn near a year to fight Canelo. Let's try to get 2 fights within this year.
Yeah. So let's see here: March, April, May, June, July, and then maybe November. That sounds pretty reasonable, right? Is that?
Yeah, or even at the end of the year, the beginning, January, because it's a showcase, bro. I'm like literally talking like David when Danny fought that the one kid that he fucking put his head on a swivel. Remember when Danny fought the guy in the tiger fucking shorts?
Yeah.
Just annihilated the kid. That was so fucked up. But that's what we're talking about here. It's a total showcase. It's a confidence builder, and gets a good highlight reel, knockout highlight reel, hopefully for the fight with Canelo.
Yeah, like Danny Garcia and that fucking. I'm remembering that right now. He threw that same left hand like 3 fucking times, and the dude like it missed twice, and then he just kept throwing, and then fucking. That left landed on the poor guy, and it made his head look like a fucking, a speed bag. It just got. Yeah. But I was like, yo, he threw that punch a few times, man. He could have at least kept him. But anyway, I just thought it was funny that Paulie kind of let that. I mean, I had never heard of it, but I didn't. I mean, I've heard that the fight could be taking place in September with Billy and Canelo. But when he said that, I was like, what the fuck? What is it official? I haven't heard anything about that. But one of the reasons why. Maybe has it been official? Is what I'm going to get into here momentarily. But before we do, anything else we want to add to this Lester Martinez and Immanuwel Aleem fight?
Nope, good fight.
How about Lester and ADAMES? If ADAMES wants to move up to fucking super middleweight, would that be too much? Would that be pushing it?
Dude, that's the fight I was gonna bring up before I seen that he was in the super middleweight division. I was like, well, both of them got Lester, but he was a division up because he's undefeated. He seems like he's the hot shit right now, right? But it's the wrong division. Yes, if ADAMES wanted to move up, that's an excellent fight. Turkey should be interested in because it's just action packed. Even him and McBilly was a good fight. They could have ran that one back. You know what I mean? But obviously with Canelo stepping in, that's more money, so they go the Canelo route. But because he's exciting, both of those fights are decent matchups. Yeah.
Alrighty. So at what you were alluding to a few moments ago is this, obviously, right? We're in a time of war right now, right, in the Middle East, yet again, as seems to be the case. But don't worry, I'm not gonna get political here because that's not exactly what we do. But that does somehow spill into boxing every so often, right? It kind of changes things. I mean, there's a lot of people that are very concerned of the UFC white card event. They're like, yo, what the fuck? I don't know if we all want to be here at the same fucking time, because everybody's kind of concerned about what's going on right now, especially if all these military people and officials and high-ranking officials in the White House are going to be all on the same location, the same night, and everybody's fully aware of it. People are a little bit concerned about that, but let me go ahead and pull up this one. Excuse me.
Hey, Miguel.
Yes.
Especially when that's what we just did to Iran a few times. Waited until they all got at one place.
Yeah. And announcing it. Imagine that. It's like, yo, fantastic White House, and this shit happens like it's gonna be aired all over Paramount. Oh,
I heard they were even using social media. They were using social media for the videos, and then hitting places where they seen hideouts at. And now we're gonna have the whole UFC on TV. I think whoever's concerned about that, you or whoever, you got it's a pretty good feeling there you got going on, bro. Yeah,
got a reason to get a little, like, I don't know if I want to be front row on TV, let everybody know that I'm there. But I saw this tweet here by Mr. Moonshine 10. That's his hashtag or his handle on X or Twitter. This is what he says, and it's a video. It's a 59-second video. It says, unfortunately, Riyadh is being directly impacted by the ongoing regional war, which is already impacting major sporting events in Riyadh being canceled, like Formula One and WWE's Night of Champions. Now, questions are growing around Canelo Alvarez and his lucrative partnership with Turki Al-Sheikh. Could his upcoming fight be at risk? And if so, will he retire? Because many believe that's what's keeping him active is a lucrative contract with the Saudis. Or will he return to doing business with Al Haymon's PBC? But that's just like more speculation. But anyway, that's the question that is being posed. It does put into question quite a lot of things. It's this with the recent killing of Mencho in Mexico. Literally that same week or the week after, there was a UFC card there. People were like, "Oh shit!" In Mexico City, like, are we gonna really do this here? They did it anyway. Nothing happened, at least to my knowledge. But are we going to really play with fire twice and do this again with Canelo? I know that's primarily the point of why the Saudis are in this, and they're trying to get tourism back to Saudi Arabia. It seemed as though things were going okay until this happened, of course, and now that kind of puts into question whether or not this is going to continue. His fight, or Canelo's comeback in September, which may or may not be against Christian and Billy, was supposed to, at least that's the word, that's supposed to happen in Saudi Arabia. Now, or Riyadh, it doesn't seem as though that, it appears as though that might be kind of in question now because of what's going on. I don't know if Canelo's going to want to take his family over there, or anybody else, quite frankly, his team. He doesn't want to go over there. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I'm thinking maybe that's the case. I don't know if that's even going to happen now. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he's just going to have to wait. We don't know what exactly is going to happen, but it seems as though this stuff is impacting not just, politics or the world, right? But I mean, or I should say not just politics, but the world, also the world of entertainment here. And there's a possibility that we might not even get Canelo in Saudi Arabia, according to what I'm reading here. So, yeah, go ahead and throw in your 2 cents into that, Andrew.
Well, it's there's like new evidence now that Iran's missiles are getting a lot farther than what was first projected, right? They hit Israel a few times. They've hit Holy Lands over in Israel. So we know their missiles are getting in the air and they're getting through defense systems. At a certain point, you have to talk about the money that both events are going to cost the White House and cost Saudi Arabia to put these events on. Is it worth it? Do you know how much security they're going to have at that White House if the president is really on site on something that's being aired, like you're saying, on TV where everybody knows in the middle of a war? I don't know if the for Dana White and the UFC, they at least they have on their side that the event might now be bigger than the UFC, where Donald Trump might say, at all costs, we're going to take it because I want to show the American people that we're safe and we're okay. We're going to go with this fight. But who's protecting the airwaves? Who's protecting the blocks away? They're going to block this thing off, what, 2 blocks away? 3 blocks away? Do you want any bombs going off near the White House? Right? So you're like, you know what? How much security can I push this thing back? Who's paying for all that? Because I think even if you went 2 blocks away, that's still a little bit scary. Do you want them that close?
Right.
No, right?
I mean, if you can hear the fucking thing, it's too close.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what happened in the Atlanta one, right? Remember when the Atlanta bombing during the Olympics? Everyone heard it on the TV.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Didn't do a lot of damage. It definitely brought down that Olympics that day and all that event or whatever. But you hear what I'm saying? They still got their thing out on the TV. So I all I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but they're going to push this thing way back. Who's going to pay for that? Now we have missiles that possibly can reach. They don't know. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, we don't know how far these ballistics can go. You know, and how did they get through one of the best defense systems in the world in Israel? They're hitting their marks. Shit, they just said that the prime minister might be toast. I know he's come out a few times, maybe 6 fingers, extra earlobe.
Yeah,
you know, but he's out. He's around.
Right, and then like new pictures with just the color of the tie is different and it's the exact same pose as like 3 years ago. So high likelihood that home dude isn't with us anymore. But
that bomb reached. that bomb
right.
reached its mark too. I mean, when is it just not worth it? To me, listen, Canelo's already, I think Canelo is like, no, this is not worth it. If Canelo goes, Miguel, that's just contract reasons, bro. But I mean, seriously, if you're not taking your family, what is the point of you being there? If you get killed, your family's still fucked anyways. Okay, so they get to live there, but they don't have no father, right? And your kids are very young. You know what I'm saying? So if I think my wife is in danger and I'm the breadwinner of the family and I'm the one that's the king, well, I don't want to put myself out there unless it's for my family. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, fortunately for Canelo, he doesn't have to make those type decisions anymore. He can go home and work another fight somewhere else. So honestly, bro, both fights I think should be looked at as far as should they move forward with them just for safety reasons. And the Saudi one, I'm doubting way more because they're already canceling events. So that, to me, that's already the prince going, I'm not paying for all that fucking security. Fuck out of here. You guys want a missile to hit your ass while you're in there walking to the fight? Go do it. Nobody's flying in. Like, I thought we were doing this for tourism. Take it off.
That's precisely why they're doing it for. Yeah.
Take it off the calendar, and we'll come back next year, the year before. Hopefully, this ain't a 20-year war, man. I'm just saying, hopefully. The last one time we were all celebrating like the shit was over. We were there for 20 fucking plus years. So we don't need another one of those happening. Take it off the fucking radar for this year until this shit gets figured out, and then try again. I don't think the threat is never going to be there, though, Miguel. I'm sorry. I don't know.
You don't think the threat is never not going to be there?
Not going to be there.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly what I just said. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, probably not going to be there. Was like, yeah. Well, it's a double negative.
I got a little bit of Tito Ortiz in me.
I think to some degree we all have a little Tito up here.
I love that guy.
If you've ever stepped into the ring or the cage, at some point there's a little bit of Tito up here for everybody. Just saying. I want to outlive my kids. Oh, sure, Tito. Okay, fantastic. Then that's not exactly what most parents want, but okay, regardless. But no, you're right. I mean so I guess the question I guess I can pose to you is, it doesn't seem as though things will get resolved between now and September, right? It's not like, all right, hold on, we're gonna pause this thing. Maybe September things will be better, or like at least before. So at the very least, we can start planning this shit because it's not like you can just plan an event the same month that it fucking happens. You have to do it several months in advance. So there's got to be some sort of deadline. I'm thinking, what, maybe June? By June, they kind of have to say already for sure, like, all right, this shit ain't happening, or this shit is happening, because we got to start planning between now and June and September. Doesn't seem like things will be resolved by September, huh?
Yeah, no, because like the war we were just in, every time we kill someone else pops up as the leader. I mean, we're whacking one. They said we bombed one of their meetings and took out 9 of the head officials at one time. Yet 3 weeks later, we're still in a war. We took out 9 guys, bro. Yet we're still in a war. Then we take out one guy. They give him the keys like for 45 minutes. He's dead. But yet we're still in a war. It's like the serpent keeps getting a new head. You know what I'm saying? And so when does it end? So yeah, no, I don't see it ending anytime soon, because that's what we did in Afghanistan, man. They just keep bringing up these new guys as the leaders. So,
yeah. And what I'm reading as far as like the UFC, the cost, it's going to cost them 60 million plus to put that fucking card in the White House. That's what I'm hearing, or reading, I should say.
And now the missiles to protect that octagon cost about $9 million each. Who's going to pay for those to be loaded into the guns that overlook the White House? I'm just saying, Trump is eating a lot of this security bill. I know he is. There's no way the UFC is paying for the police to blockade things. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the only thing that America has going for them is our defense is pretty fucking good, right? So when Trump says no, you guys are going to protect this fucking White House like it's the White House, which they do every day, we should be secure. What I don't want is the backpack, I'm just going to go over there and make some noise type of guy. The Boston Marathon guy, right? The fucking backpack with needles and what do you have, nails and all that shit in it, just to...
Sure. There are 2 of them. The
two of them, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And they just hurt a lot of people. You know what I mean? I think they did kill some, but it was that type of bomb where they just wanted to fucking bring damage. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I don't want.
It didn't matter who. It didn't matter who. Was like somebody who's ever in the near vicinity, somebody's going to get it.
And it wasn't even, it didn't matter who, but it wasn't like it wasn't a great plan, and I don't mean it in those words, but it wasn't thought out like when the planes went into the towers. Do you understand? That was a plan to bring destruction. These 2 fucktards went with fucking nails and a backpack and fucking whatever, marbles, whatever they can shrapnel, they can blow through people.
Pressure cookers. Something
Fucking jerks. So to me, that's what I don't want. I don't want those little peewees. I don't even want that shit to go on. So you got to push this thing back. It's gonna be heavy priced on both, and really unnecessary on both degrees, I think, for Saudi and for the White House. Just a bad time to do the White House card. We should do the White House card in a celebration of America, and I don't think you can do that when you're in a war.
True. Very good point. All right. So anything else we want to add to that before we move on to the next topic?
Nope. I like it.
All right. So this one here, I read it and I kind of wasn't too sure because I didn't quite understand it at first, but it seems as though Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy has signed some sort of deal / extension with none other than DAZN. We've reported a few months back, or I think last month, that Golden Boy wasn't going to continue with DAZN. It seemed like they were just doing like a fight-by-fight type basis, and it wasn't any sort of long-term deal. And he even went to a different streaming services, Swerve TV, which I think, as I understand it, still has the rights to their video library and a bunch of other stuff. But in a recent article that I saw online here, fightsatw.com is where I found it. DAZN solidified as "quote unquote" home of boxing status with Golden Boy extension. All right. So just a quick article here. Although there was little doubt it would get done, sources, those sources again, have told Fights ATW that Golden Boy Promotions has signed a non-exclusive extension with DAZN that will be officially announced in the coming days, possibly Tuesday. The length of the deal and the annual budget details were not released at this time. When the calendar turned 2026, Golden Boy's deal had expired, but they were still collaborating with DAZN on a show-by-show basis. Golden Boy hosted the card headlined by Raul Curiel in January. Yada yada, Arnold Barboza and Kevin Sims, of course. But it seemed as though this kind of like them not being with DAZN kind of fucked things up, and possibly we weren't able to get. And this is one of the many reasons why we might not get Boots and Virgil Ortiz. But according to this here, they are now signed a non-exclusive deal with DAZN. So. During the announcement that Top Rank had signed with DAZN, everybody kept mentioning the same promoters as Queensberry, was Matchroom, was Top Rank, and notice how they kind of didn't mention Golden Boy, at least at that moment. It seemed as though things weren't solidified yet, but if you take a look at some of the stuff that Oscar De La Hoya has been posting on his social media accounts, it sounds as though he's going in that direction. There's an announcement coming up. This is kind of a two-part story, but this is kind of the first part. I guess we can start with this. Andrew, we're not really shocked that this happened. We kind of hoped it would happen. I know some people are kind of have mixed feelings about whether or not DAZN is the place that everybody needs to be. It's sort of kind of like our modern day HBO to some degree, but it was different regardless. Last week or the week before that, we talked about Oscar sort of maybe being the odd man out because he was the one that kind of wasn't specifically with DAZN, and maybe his relationship with Turkey has something to do with that. Well, it seems like they patched up to some degree. We're going to hear more about it in the coming days. But first off, your first reaction with Golden Boy signing this non-exclusive deal with DAZN.
Well, you would have to look up what the non-exclusive part means, because I think we hit it right on the head when we said he didn't have the stable to invest in, right? Maybe they just want to pick the fights that they want. Well, doesn't that sound what a inclusive deal would be?
Non-exclusive.
Yes. Doesn't that sound like that what that is? We don't want all your fights.
Just the good ones.
Just the rest you take
just
some
the money making ones. Just the ones that get us a lot of ratings. We don't give two flying fucks about Raul Curiel. I'm sorry. We want Ryan.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that's where that kind of lays right there. It's a good thing for Oscar. Look, he didn't want to be odd man out. You don't want to start losing fighters because you can't get the big dates with the Ring Magazine, Rehad, possibly TKO Zuffa. I don't know how much they'll be involved, like on the Conor Ben fights. You know what I mean? I guess you have to sort of attach Zuffa, Sela. Is that what they're Sela Promotions? Because I've heard Sela Promotions, Zuffa Promotions, TKO Group, Sela. There you go, Sela Promotions. So you kind of want him to be in that ball game. Look, what I was surprised on is why. Last 2 weeks, DAZN signing more promoters. I mean, if you listen to Dana White a few weeks ago, I thought they were only managers now. Yet here we are giving them money for fights, right?
So probably not a lot of money. Probably not a lot. I mean, we did hear about Top Rank and their deal with ESPN being way the fuck more money than it was here. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of the non-exclusive part. It's like, all right, we ain't gonna give you that much money. We'll just take some of the good fights.
They gave Conor Ben $15 million, so they're giving some good money.
Oh well, that I thought you meant like DAZN to the promoters.
Oh no, I'm just saying he's given good money. I don't know what he signed for every fight. Yes, you're talking about Top Rank's deal. Top Rank has a younger stable than Oscar does. And that's what I don't know, if that's why they're keeping these guys in the loop. Because like we've been saying, dead horse, Zuffa's plan doesn't work for all the guys. The guys on the top shelf aren't fighting for Zuffa's fucking stable, their rankings, all that shit. These guys make serious money, and if they want to take Conor Ben, then they're giving Conor Ben serious money, and that's what they did. So is that why Turkey's like, well, I guess we're not getting rid of Eddie. We're not getting, the promoters, because in a way, those guys help generate the money that these top shelf guys are demanding. And I don't ever see that changing. Do you guys understand Lester Martinez won a fucking lottery ticket on a pro box card that was probably only watched by under 100,000 people? That fight is now worth for him possibly $1 million, that win. That's what Zuffa can't do for you, Miguel. And that's what all those young promoters, young trainers, young managers, that's what they're going to get told. We've seen USA Boxing back out of the Zuffa agreement deal, the Ali Act. We watched Roy Jones this week come out against Zuffa saying he doesn't want to do it. We've seen Stitch come out against the fucking Zuffa's contracts. We've seen Eddie Hearn. I told you he was going to do it. He came out like this Tom Aspinall. You know what he told it? You know what? You guys, you want to know what he recommended to his UFC heavyweight champ? Did you hear what he recommended?
I heard him say something, but I don't know that's what we were referring to. Go ahead. Huh?
He said, don't fight.
Shit, good luck with that.
That's how bad it is, Miguel.
We haven't. I mean, we knew it was bad. I mean, I don't know to what degree Eddie can spill the beans. I don't know how much he can disclose about that, but we knew it was bad.
He's going to disclose all that to the young kid that he's signing. That's what he's going to disclose it to. Remember when I said he's getting ammo? Well, when these guys come in and go, oh, super contract on. Oh, yeah? Is that what you like? Well, hey, what happens when they get you in a 6-fight deal, fight you once in 4 years, 3 years, put you on the shelf, give you the fights when they control everything about you? He's building ammo right now in his head. It's not for us. It's for him when he's in that back room with all these youngsters. So that's not going anywhere. None of this is going anywhere. I'm telling you, if anything, I see Zuffa going away, not boxing, not the WBC, not the WBO, not Lester Martinez is another example of why, you guys. He won the WBC interim title. I can almost guarantee you his next fight, he's going to be making more money than he would ever get signing with Zuffa, even if he was the champ. Imagine if it's Canelo. He might get $1 million. He might get $2.5 million, Miguel. If it's McBilly, they probably only get need 300 grand, I think, 200 grand. Maybe it's Zuffa money. Maybe, if he was the champ there. But he's the WBC intern. That's only one belt.
Yeah.
These belts generate way more money. The sport ain't going anywhere. Where were we leading with this?
Oscar's non-exclusive deal.
Non-exclusive, yeah. I'm just happy that he's still in the loop. Really am. Now, what I'm not happy about is the DAZN needs to do a better job of getting their fucking name out there now. Now we're playing with fire, dude. Because before they only had a few fucking fighters. We still had guys everywhere else fighting. Now it looks like the DAZN is really taking in all of the top market. He doesn't have PBC yet. He's got Top Rank. He's got Matchroom. He's got Golden Boy. Right? He's got the Ring Magazine who's working with DAZN. So whatever fight they buy is coming there. One thing I find interesting is Tyson Fury's next fight is on Netflix, and Tyson Fury Joshua just got announced to Netflix. Why the fuck is DAZN allowing that to happen? They need to do something about that.
With letting it happen as far as Anthony Joshua?
Yes.
Because I mean,
or why is Turkey allowing all these fights to go to Netflix? He doesn't really have an interest in Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, no, that is a good question. Why? I mean, because I'm trying to think what possible motive he'd have to just let them go over there and make their own fucking money and get. I mean, obviously they're going to get a fuck ton of exposure because they are what they are. But wouldn't you want that exposure on DAZN instead of Netflix?
It sounds like we have so much money invested in DAZN. We want to start bringing these fights to DAZN now. We want to make it what they're calling it now, the home of boxing. It
Could it
does.
just be? Could it be just a temporary thing? Because guys like Fury are kind of out the door in the near future, and frankly, even Anthony Joshua, I don't know how much time he's got left. So could it just be like, all right, let's go ahead and leave those motherfuckers out? Next dudes that come, the next batch are not gonna go there.
Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury have millions of Instagram followers, a social media presence. And I know Joshua's already fought on DAZN, but you want as many eyeballs on DAZN as possible now to try to get these numbers up in America at the very least, because that's where the money's really driven, right? Our market is the best market. I hate, I'm not talking shit, I'm talking facts here. America TV brings in the most for these fighters. They all say it. We need eyeballs, and I don't know too many eyeballs here in America that watch DAZN. I really don't. It was hot when they first signed Canelo, won't lie. We were all, Mexican fan base, Mexican family. We were all watching DAZN. But with all the pay raises, Canelo's career kind of, leveling out here. I won't say on the downfall totally, but just leveling out. A lot of people just weren't with the constant fucking raise in the subscription fees. So they started dropping it. Then Canelo did take 2 defeats. Now he does look like he's possibly over the hill. Do I really want to spend $500 to watch him lose to Shiraz? Probably not. Boom, I'm done watching it. Right? Because a lot of these guys were casuals in the very beginning. DAZN has a big problem with that in America. They can't allow America to get used to streaming and watching your shit illegally. You have to some way get on our TVs through either you promoting or getting the shit on Netflix or Paramount. Sorry, but that was Jake Paul's light years ahead of DAZN. He really is.
Yeah, well, for as long as it lasts, I guess, because I'm skeptical with longevity as far as like Jake Paul on Netflix. I mean, he's already going to ESPN, so that'd be drying up already.
I have a feeling Netflix is going to invest a lot of money into Jake Paul if this MMA fight does what I believe it's going to do. Now, I know they're all old as fuck. I get that. But the buzz that those fights are starting to raise on social media, if that thing generates, dude, you guys, the UFC only brought in 5 million views on Paramount. What if this fight brings in 40 million? I'm not even going to do the Mike Tyson view. Let's do the Canelo fucking Anthony Joshua level. What if it brings in 40 million? Do you know how fucking pathetic that's going to look on the UFC? Like, you can fucking just wash what Dana owns this shit. No, we don't. I swear to God, if Jake Paul on Netflix trumps these fucking guys by 35 million fucking homes, you're looking at a big change in the power world of the MMA. And I've already told you, I don't like Dana's body language on the podium anymore. It looks like a man who's totally losing his power. We've seen he got washed in his company, probably because of gambling issues, whatever the case happened there. They took the power away. You see the media room isn't the same anymore because his bullshit don't fly in boxing. You can't tell us bullshit things like, I'm taking over. And it's like, really, Dana? Do any of your guys make 150 million? Or any of your boxers on the top 10 most paid athlete? What are you taking over? What are you talking about? He hasn't taken over shit. All these guys, you don't think the media room goes, yeah, it's easy to say in the MMA world when you own the whole fucking thing and we don't know anything about what's going on around the globe. But here in boxing, we can see what Golden Boy's doing with his fighters. We can see what Al Heyman's doing with his. We can see what Top Rank, what Matchroom, what Queensberry. There's so many other entities here in the States that we can see. The fuck out of here with your bullshit. You ain't taking over shit. I think that's what Dana has looking back at him now when he gives and his cheeks turn really red. Have you seen how red his cheeks turn behind that podium as he's sitting there lying his face off? And the media is like, ooh, not buying this one, Dana. Here, I bet you there's hella guys doing this. I don't even want to look. Who's the dictator from Korea?
Oh, yeah. I can never pronounce his name. Jung something or other.
You do it. I can't either. But you know, eye contact, they're always like, oh shit, he looked at me and they start looking.
Yeah.
I think that's how the media's at treating Dana right now. Dana's like, well, you guys used to look at me with so much confidence and I was the man, and now you just stare at your papers because they all know you're full of fucking shit. Sorry. That fucking MMA, I'm telling you, the guy kind of came here and fucked up boxing. What? You guys wanted views? Jake Paul got views. I don't care how he got them. He got them. To me, the kid's a hell of a promoter. He came here and did something for women's boxing the best promoters couldn't do, Miguel. Hello? Didn't Top Rank just have two of the best women fighters in the world on ESPN? Did you hear about them getting 8 million views, 40 million views, 17 million views? Those are on the undercard. I get it, but still a lot of views that Bob Arum never got for his fighters. Oscar De La Hoya has girl fighters. You ever heard these type of views for them? You ever heard of ESPN going, you know what? We don't even want your whole stable. Just give us the women. He's doing something. He's a promoter. His brother's even good. You see his brother in the flag football game? He's gonna sell millions of fucking YouTube hits if they get a wrestling match, a UFC match.
Hey, you're cutting off. You're talking about his brother, you said? Oh, okay,
gotcha. Did you see him in the flag football with Tom Brady? Tom Brady threw the ball at him.
No. I heard of it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, Tom Brady was fucking around with them, threw a ball at him, and Logan got all WWE on him. It was a good sell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And dude, Logan Paul's like 6'7" or some shit. That dude's hella big too, like Tom Brady.
He's not that big. No fucking way. I mean, he's huge, but I don't know.
I think he's that tall, dude. 6'5", I don't know, but he's very big. He's not small at all. Him and Tom Brady were like eye to eye, bro. And you know NFL quarterbacks aren't small. You know what I mean? The dude's an athlete is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure.
You've seen it in the wrestling. You see it on the field when he went heads up with Tom Brady. These guys know how to sell. They know how to sell. I think if this MMA fight is real, I think Netflix is going to give him more money. And more money, and just see what he can do. And you know what? I'm all in. He doesn't have a criminal record. He doesn't say stupid things on when he's on being a promoter, when he's on the microphone, right? All he said, he wanted to bring money to the boxing world. He wanted to help fighters out, gave guys the highest paychecks they've ever had. None of this is a bad thing. So I think Jake gets more money from Netflix if the MVP Promotions does boxing and MMA, and he can show that he's giving them views on both. Oh yeah, they're gonna invest. They're gonna invest in him.
I have my doubts about the MMA card, but
damn it,
Netflix. I think they're more about the event. They're like, if this event gets eyeballs, cool. They don't really care about the longevity of MMA per se. It's like, yo, it can be a killer ass tennis game if I want it, and if that gets eyeballs, they'll do it. I don't think, especially with like how few good fighters are still left kind of around that aren't like stuck to exclusive contracts. That's the reason some of these fights are being made. But there's one fight in particular that's going to be on the undercard. It's going to be pretty fucking decent actually, but everything else is just going to be name recognition. It's the as close to the equivalent of what was Tyson and Jake Paul. It's the names. People are going to tune in. They're going to watch. Chances are they're going to do a lot more numbers than the UFC white card. A White House card. I'm fairly certain it's going to do a lot more than that, honestly. But it's going to be a once in a while type of thing. Maybe they're going to have something in the future again. I just don't see. I don't see a Netflix going that balls deep into it. They're like, yo, if it's a one-time event, cool. If it's a whatever event, they're more into the events. And if it gets some eyeballs, cool. I don't think they're in the business per se.
Who just got endorsed by the president the other day, Miguel? I'm gonna go heads with you on this because I feel that I'm onto something more than you. Who got endorsed by the president as the next politician? You didn't see it? It was Jake Paul.
Oh yeah,
I don't give a fuck. He didn't do it for Donald Trump. He didn't do it for Dana White. Dana White hangs out with them, but he's never went on the stage and said that young man right there is going to run for office one day. Don't know what political seat, but he has that in him. He's seeing that. That's a businessman who has made billions of dollars in this shit, seeing something in him. Now, what I'm going to say here is if really
wait. You're yelling, so it's not coming. All right,
okay. If Eddie Hearn really does find things in these contracts that can get them void if you put in front of the right judge, the judge with the right ties, similar to what they said the UFC had when they had this thing made, this revised Ali Act. Well, why can't you void some of these contracts in the MMA? Now the MMA world is totally flipped upside. Now you have two companies competing for all the guys, and one guy way pays his fighters better than the other. And to be honest with you, I just think everyone's done with the UFC. I really do. This is just an outsider looking in, reading the comment section and looking at the vibe of the fucking fighters nowadays. But there are fucking 5 more videos of guys coming out saying they hate the UFC than there are saying that they love it. And you know what? I've never had an opportunity like this. You know, I came from a homeless guy and now I own a house and I own a car and my kids in car. Where are those? If I'm Dana White, I would pay guys to start making those videos. Seriously, because instead you have legends that are coming out and saying this company is trash. They've owned my career. John Jones, Kobe, the fucking Pierre, the guy that just fought the other day, 14 bonuses, not $1 million worth. These guys are legends, bro. Nate Diaz has always had his 2 cents to say about the pay and the fucking thing. Ronda Rousey came out. These are legends. That's bad. I gotta say, boxing, Dana better watch out. He crossed into our path. Now he's got Matchroom's lawyers looking at his contracts over there. Now you got Netflix and MVP Promotions putting on an MMA event that I think is totally gonna blow the fuck out of Paramount's numbers of 5 million. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it will. It will. I'm not gonna say it won't. It definitely will. All I'm saying is that I've been a fan long enough to seen people come and go. None of them have been on Netflix. I get it, right? None of them have been on Netflix because Netflix wasn't necessarily the powerhouse.
Your company had a stronger grasp on the industry before they do today.
I think they still do. They're so far ahead of everybody else that it is going to be damn near. It's too much. And look, right now the UFC is in a major slump. They're in a major fucking slump right now. People.
They're so far ahead. They don't have one headliner on a fucking card, Miguel. Conor McGregor, John Jones, fucking Ronda Rousey wanted to go to the White House. Kobe wanted to go to the White House. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
It is MAGA. You think if you wanted someone who's going to get eyeballs on that event, because it ain't going to be a fucking Democrat. I mean, to get political.
No, it's gonna be a Republican. Of course, it's gonna be a Republican.
So then, why wouldn't you put on Mr. MAGA him fucking self? You allow Strickland to go out there and say all the homophobic, racist shit he wants, but you won't put on a guy that puts on a MAGA. I'm just saying.
Is that they have too much of a stranglehold right now, as it stands. Now, whether or not that changes, whenever there is a competitor or a close competitor that wasn't able to last as long, by the wayside they go, and then they get another head start and another head start. It would be cool to have another one because at the very least the fighters will have somewhere else to go and not get fucked with like really shitty contracts. And every time a new face, a new something pops up, everybody has their hopes up that this is going to be the competitor that's going to at least be the alternative. This doesn't seem like it's going to be that. That's what I'm saying. Because I've seen too many of them.
They will sell. They'll bail. They made the $7 billion. They'll walk away. I honestly believe that. It's what they're all saying. It's what Ronda Rousey was trying to explain to us. The shareholders have made their money. They do not want to give it back. They fire us, let us go, let us sell, do whatever you want to do. They're keeping what is on that contract and walking away. The sport is not rising anymore. I told you guys that when the Fertitas signed. That was a bad fucking look. That was a bad look.
When they sold. You're talking about when they sold.
When they sold,
okay,
of course.
Gotcha. Okay.
Those men are casino owners. They're restaurant owners. They know the markets, right? They didn't, I'm telling you, and now with the views that Paramount is not showing us, the one view they did show us, these numbers aren't even fucking close. That's not close to 1 million views is not close to $1.5 billion. Nobody would be happy about that. I gave you $1 billion for the year and your first show got me 5 million hits. There's guys on YouTube that can do that more in 24 fucking hours. Jake Paul being one of them. You don't think that's thrown in Dana's and theirs face? How is this fucking kid taking Mike Tyson and Netflix and dominating a market that you're trying to make fun of him in? Bullshit. Show us what we invested in. If you're the fucking king of MMA, show us it. Where's your fucking numbers to show us you're the king of MMA? You want to know where it's at? They're sitting on the bench in Ngannou, John Jones, McGregor, Rousey. I can't really say.
They don't have to have numbers because there's nobody else.
I'm saying the numbers for Paramount.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it compared to anybody else, their numbers are going to be completely humongous compared to any other near. But again, rather or not, this changes the landscape with once Netflix sees the numbers, because there's only so many free guys around. That's the reason they all landed on this card here in particular. So it'll do big numbers. Don't get me wrong, it'll do big numbers. But I'm extremely pessimistic that the Netflix is going to then later on be like, oh shit, fuck yeah, we're in the MMA business all of a sudden. I don't think they're going to go that route. They're going to be like, all right, is it another one-time event?
They're in the Logan Paul business, and if he's in the MMA business, then they're in the MMA business. But right now, whatever this kid puts on their network is fucking shining. And I'm telling you right now, that MVP MMA belt, 40 million views. 40 million views, and he's going to be fucking shining. I'm telling you, dude. Mike Perry, Nate Diaz got added. Do you know how big Nate Diaz is in California?
Sure.
You know how many houses that's going to bring just here, dude? You got Ronda Rousey. You got fucking Ngannou. These are headliners, bro. These are things that the old MMA fans, the older guys, these are the stars they used to watch. No, I totally think this thing is going to blow that shit out.
What up, everybody? Welcome back. Sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. It seems as though my co-host Andrew had a bit of a power outage on his end. He was just getting so heated on this topic of MVP and their MMA show on Netflix gonna take over that the power was like, no, bro, I'm telling you, UFC. I'm going to train UFC forever, bro. And then they pulled him out. They pulled the plug on his power. But that being said, we had to terminate that or end that previous call or meeting. We're going to start a new one just to basically pick up where we left off. And there's enough light in Andrew's laptop to get some light on him so he's not completely in the dark. So you guys just don't see like teeth floating, basically. We are back, at least for a little bit longer. So we're going to try to get through this as quickly as we can, without pushing it too much before anything else happens again. But we kind of got cut off where Andrew said they're going to blow the water, blow the UFC out of the fucking water is where we ended. But essentially, that was what you were trying to say. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that, Andrew, before we move on?
No, I just wanted to say it sucks when you have a power outage. I've already tried to turn on the lights 3 times.
Right. That'll do that.
Room I stepped into, I hit the switch.
Yeah.
Look, interesting times coming up for the MMA world. I think it's a good thing that the UFC has a competitor if what I believe is happening is truly going to happen. And Jake Paul has a great opportunity here to put on a great production with Netflix behind him, the eyeballs that I think they're going to secure. You might turn a lot of the future MMA guys onto MVP. These guys are already, a lot of these young talent are already Jake Paul fans. They already want the Jake Paul life. What? He dates the gold medal athlete. He flies around in private jets. He makes $60 million a fight. You don't think when Jake Paul brings this type of lifestyle around young men who never see this from Dana White, they don't see that type of money being put in front of them. They don't see these type of paydays. I think you're going to have more guys willing to not even sign with the UFC and go right to MVP MMA promotions. There's a big change here coming. Unfortunately for Paramount, they got fucked. Paramount overpaid, and we knew that from the very beginning. Miguel, they jumped $1 billion offer to $7.5 billion. Insane. We sat here and we asked, why didn't you go to $3 billion and see if Netflix was going to match that? This is all Paramount's fault, making the UFC look like they're worth more money than they actually are. I think when the $1.5 billion that they started off with, and Netflix, I believe, came in at $1 billion, is probably what the company is truly worth. And that's the entire company. That's the entire thing, umbrella, if you would say, MMA umbrella. So there is an avenue here. What if Netflix goes, hey, Jake, what if we give you $500 million? What do you think you could do with that type of money? What kind of talent can you sign with that? You know what he's going to go out there and sign? The whole new roster of MMA guys. And they ain't going to give two shits about the UFC.
But unfamiliar. And
yeah,
people
no,
like,
but Miguel,
gonna know these guys, so they're not. I get that, but that's not always about that. There are times where there's guys that are super hella talented, and for whatever reason don't reach superstardom, or the other way around. Guys get to that superstardom, and you're like, yo, this guy's nowhere near as talented as XYZ.
It's gonna be sad when Dana is not getting phone calls anymore from the new crop. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about UFC going bankrupt, dog. Nothing's coming in. All they have to do is give Jake Paul a portion of what they are going to give the UFC. A portion. His pay raises will go through the roof, and every newcomer, every black belt, every Olympic wrestler, every Olympic taekwondo guy is going to call Jake Paul, the younger guy. On top of that, Dana's looking pretty old nowadays, old, fat, and used. They're going to be calling MVP promotions. Mark my word, you guys. Go ahead. If there's a bet,
I don't disagree on that end. One of the things that I mentioned earlier before we got cut off was that there's a young wrestler, Olympic wrestler. I think he's like a medalist. I don't know if he's a gold medal winner, but Gable Stevenson is his name. He's going to be fighting Junior Dos Santos on that card. At least that's the word. Everybody knows who Junior Dos Santos from the UFC. So this dude has also wrestled. He's had WWE experience on the lower end, not that high. But anyway, point is, he's a bad fucking dude, and he's over here. You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree, because trust me, from a fan's perspective and from somebody who's followed the sport for a long time, it's not like I only want the UFC around. I want as many other fucking people around as possible, because that just means more fights for me. I'm just saying, I've seen this too many times to where like I get giddy and excited, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" And then shit happens. Now we are in a different. Huh?
Yeah, you didn't see Netflix come with 500 million. You ain't never seen that in the MMA world.
But they're not going to do that with every single MMA card out there. They're going to do it with like the Gina Carano's, the Ronda Rouseys, not the Junior Dos Santos.
I think they go after the sport. Netflix had an interest in MMA, or they never would have offered the UFC the $1 billion that they did. They had an interest. Now, because the UFC is lacking so much in star power, in just overall, I don't know.
And fandom, it's in a slump. It's not as popular as it once was, and fans are starting to get a little fed up with it.
And fighters. The bigger thing is the fighters, man, because they're the ones that are going to tell. What about all these guys when they go to their gyms and their dudes are all ready to make their pro debuts? Who do you think they're going to be telling to sign with if they do have a new kid on the block and they got 200 million to put in the pay scale? I'm telling you.
Yeah. And just to correct myself, Gable Stevenson, who's going to be on the undercard of this Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey card, Olympic gold medalist, wrestling.
Wow.
2020 Tokyo. Wow. So
nice.
That's one of the kind of the talent that would be awesome. Nobody knows the motherfucker, unfortunately, but that would be awesome. He's on here against Junior Dos Santos, former UFC heavyweight champ, I think one time. But regardless, yes, I get what you're saying. Trust me, I want it to happen. I don't give two flying fucks if it's Jake Paul or whomever. It's just that, and the era is different. The time is different, because Netflix probably wasn't nearly as interested as it is now, as it once was, or in the past. So they weren't. It was all prior to this. The competition that came at the UFC was pay-per-view. That was their market, pay-per-view market. Now that that's gone, we might have something else because of Netflix.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go back to where we're at. Oh yeah. Okay. So we were talking about shit. We kind of drifted off. We're talking about Golden Boy, right? And they're non-exclusive with DAZN. Well, if we go back to Oscar here, it seems as though there was some funny business going on with Oscar, who recently tweeted out or went to his social media and basically let everybody know that there's going to be an announcement coming up here very soon, Tuesday, I believe it is, if I can pull it up here. But basically, an announcement came up right on his social media saying, yeah, he's going to basically have some important information. Around that time, what else happened? Well, Rick Mirigian decided to go back a couple of years into his tweets and decided to delete over like a couple of years worth of tweets. Now, when Andrew, you and I were talking about this, I kind of didn't see what about it? It could be mere coincidence or it could be something more significant. I'm going to pull up this here in particular, but it seems as though they're onto something, right? Let me go ahead and read this from Boxing Ego on Twitter. Oscar De La Hoya posted that he has big news coming, which proves Golden Boy's promotion is the best. Golden Boy Promotions. Virgil Ortiz manager Rick Mirigian is currently involved in a lawsuit versus Golden Boy Promotions as well. It was also discovered that he deleted years worth of posts on his Twitter account. Are these two events connected or mere coincidence? Rumor has it that Golden Boy Promotions has re-upped to finalize a long-term deal with DAZN, which now we know is true. Which could hurt the Virgil Ortiz quote-unquote free agency argument that are currently going to arbitration for. I will give you my full thoughts, and this is his go on. This particular post goes on with what the content creators' ideas are, but then what's his name, Golden Boy goes on to his social media and has like a short clip of him throwing some jabs, right, doing all this stuff with the caption that there's going to be some major news come Tuesday. So we're expecting some news Tuesday. It looks like we have another round victory on the scorecards for Oscar De La Hoya over the previously undefeated out of the ring Rick Mirigian. But Andrew, what in the world could be in those tweets that Rick Mirigian said, you know what, fuck this, let me go ahead and delete him off my account now?
If Rick Mirigian was a real fighter, we would be talking about retirement right now. This is 3 back-to-back losses. Really not a reason to move forward. Oscar is king in this division. You might want either thinking retirement or moving out to a new division. And maybe that's what the deleting of the tweets was him moving on. Take your defeat and move on. Mm. Look, now that you explained the non-exclusive deal that Golden Boy just struck with DAZN, is it possible, like you were saying, that it is only for Boots versus Ennis that they had to make this deal? Because Oscar, maybe when Turkey's lawyers got to the arbitration lawyers or judge, he was like, look, I'm going to lean towards Golden Boy. He just done nothing wrong. Mirigian, the manager, was in the wrong. And so now they go, all right, if we really want this fight, how are we going to get it? Well, going to have to sign Golden Boy to a non-exclusive deal. So then we could just buy this fight from them. Right?
Yeah. Just buy it right out. Be like, fuck the long-term shit. Let's just buy this one fight out.
Yeah. So it could be a reason why that deal had to be made now, is because there will be no Boots versus Ortiz without them bringing him to the zone. So maybe that the writing's on the wall. Now, it was clearly a win. Even if it was out of coincidence and the guy fucking, accidentally deleted those tweets, it's not a good look for him. You know what I mean? He's losing in courts. He's got judges siding with Oscar. Now Oscar signs with DAZN, the company that it looked like Ortiz was going to run straight to after getting away from Golden Boy. Can't really argue that doesn't have a platform now. He has the platform that you were going to. So it's do I think the fight's going to happen this year? No, I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think they do move forward with Zayas. Unfortunately, I think it's still in play that Ortiz loses a little bit of money at the very end of this. Maybe Turkey shows him a little love because it was his manager that kind of got him fucked up. If the manager goes all the way and just says it was him and not Ortiz, because you remember, like I said a few weeks ago, it could have been Ortiz that threw the hand grenade, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he just got greedy, and they both got greedy together and just wanted to cut Oscar out of the deal. I don't really know. I'm not behind the scenes, but I don't know how Boots would return with the same price he was offering if he controls 2 of the belts coming out of that fight with Zayas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's very true. That actually is a very, very lovely softball at what the next part of the story is actually the second part here. So it seems as though, right, according to what we're reading, that we're not going to get Boots and Virgil, at least not this year, or maybe later on, but no. I read or I saw a recent clip of Eddie Hearn talking about the possible return of, or the possible date, I guess, for the return of Boots. And he says, right now it's looking like June. Like, all right, well, June doesn't sound too bad, right? He says it's a little bit later than we would have liked, and we wanted it obviously sooner, but whatever. And he goes as far as to say that, no, he's going to be in a massive fight in June. All right, now we can connect the dots, right? It seems as though it's going to end up being Xander Zayas, right? That's kind of what it's looking like. Now, when I thought about that, I was like, you know what? That would be. What's the first thing that came to mind when I heard that potential June date with Xander and Boots? Well, I thought, you know what? Fuck. Wouldn't it be tight? This is what location first came to mind when I heard the June date. New York City, Madison Square Garden. Well, that's what I thought when I heard June, because what happens in June in New York? The Puerto Rican Day Parade. Who used to fight on Puerto Rican Day Parade weekends? Miguel fucking Cotto. Can you imagine if Zayas fights Boots in June and beats him? We might have found ourselves our new Miguel Cotto. Which is what essentially Bob Aaron's been fucking dying to find, right? He's been trying to get the new Miguel Cotto essentially, and others, of course, the new Mannies and everybody else. But he might have just found it. If they have that happen, as stingy as I want to be, I would love to have that fight here in Vegas. But in the long term, it makes way more sense to make it an MSG, Madison Square Garden, Boots versus Xander Zayas in June. That would be bad fucking ass. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's a great call there. That absolutely looks like the avenue Bob would work too. If he's going to give Boots like the A side of the deal, he definitely negotiated, but we're doing it on my date, right? He's giving his fighters some kind of edge, and the home field advantage of Puerto Rican holiday is definitely an advantage for Zayas going into that fight week. That's a great call. What a great East Coast fight. I mean, you have Boots.
That's right, huh?
Yeah, you have Boots coming from Philadelphia, I believe is where he comes fights
right?
out of.
Yeah. We need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, and then you have Zayas coming from, representing all the Puerto Ricans on that side, especially the New York side. It's a great fight. Absolutely great fight. Yeah. Sold out as soon as they're announced, I believe. I think that fight will get sold out.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you are indeed correct there. And what a blow to Oscar and Virgil. It's like that could have been them, I mean, yes, they're still young enough to where the fight doesn't have to happen, but damn it. That like, I want this now. I want this more. Like, I didn't think that there was a fight that I didn't want more than Ennis and fucking Virgil. But I see it now. Now it's like, damn it. Now I want this to happen. So Bob, if you're listening, I'm sure you are, Eddie, make it happen. New York City, Madison Square Garden, MSG. That would be one hell of a fucking badass fight, and especially if Xander wins, because then we can crown the new Puerto Rican king essentially.
Yep.
All right. But anything else you want to add that before we move on to one of the last topics here?
Nope, but good call. I like that fight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I was hoping, I wanted to kind of throw that one at you because I thought about that and I was like, you know what? June, fuck. What has this is exactly what Miguel Cotto used to do. That makes a lot of sense. Yep. So one of these last ones, we were already a little bit touching up on it, and we might bring that particular topic up. But we're back with Dana White and more Zuffa talks. I read recently that he intends to keep the Sunday day of the week as the kind of the days that he wants to have his Zuffa boxing cards on. I remember him saying that he'd be more than willing to do it on Sunday, especially during the football season, of course. Andrew and I touched on it recently, even if maybe Paramount will have some football games, and then once those end, then we have Zuffa boxing, right? It makes sense. But we were trying to look for the pattern, because there were a couple of times where in recent fights, or the more of them. A few of the DAZN, not DAZN, the Zuffa boxing cards that land on Sundays. I thought I was trying to find a pattern. I'm like, you know what? Is that what they're trying to do? Is they're trying to keep it going Sunday? They didn't make it really like official, but over the weekend I saw an article that mentioned that that's not a bad idea. I know they're going to want to stick to Sundays now. It's cool for us because sometimes we will have a UFC card or a boxing card on Saturday, and I say us, I mean fans. And then Sunday we have some Zuffa boxing. I mean, depends how long Zuffa boxing sticks around, I suppose. But yeah, we'll start there because there's a little bit more information on this here. But not a bad idea from Zuffa's part to stick to Sundays.
Not a bad idea as long as it doesn't go up against Sunday night football. And unfortunately, the time frame that they usually put these fights on is going to go right up against Sunday night football. Sunday night football draws millions of views, and the views only increased because of gambling. I mean, have you heard about the money that was dropped? I think they said $3 billion was bet on the Super Bowl. It's insane. No, it's insane the amount of money. The last Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say there's an investigation too going on by the feds. Yeah,
all right.
For
might as well.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that's getting changed over there. Maybe someone made a call about, do we really got to send it back? How much for the quarterback to throw a pick right now? So yeah, that's the rumor. Don't know if it's true. Just call it a rumor right now. But that's the only bad thing they go up against. Sunday Night Football closes out the day. There's a lot of gambling that's on that game, right? Because it's the last game of the day. And then fantasy football too. You have a Monday night game where you'll have players on there, but for the most part, your fantasy football comes to an end on that Sunday night. Yeah, I'm just talking as a fan. You know what I mean? Your majority of your team is going to play on Sunday. Sunday Night Football being the last game, the guys that are in big leagues, they're going to tend to pay a little bit more attention to that game. So he's going to need more than the roster that he's put up so far. Right now, I feel Zuffa is getting views more because there's not a lot of sports on, right? Once that changes, they're gonna have to add to the little roster that they've been putting out so far. I don't think a Jobby versus Martin is gonna take views away from the NFL. I don't think Valenzuela versus whoever the fuck he fought is gonna take views away from the NFL. They're gonna have to pick up the fighters to get attraction over there, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is what Dana White said. It basically said, every Sunday, I need you to stay home and say, wow, I'm glad I came and saw this event, talking about the Zuffa card. They're going to need more than, with all due respect to all those fighters, they're going to need more than Charles Martin, main eventing a card to be able to say that. But it seems like that's the direction they're going. And you're probably thinking, well, all right, well, you know what? Maybe they're going to need some faces. They're going to need some familiar faces. What has Andrew been suggesting since day fucking one? Well, bring some UFC fighters over here and get some name recognition so people will tune in. Well, Dana White shot that down real fucking fast, going as far as to say that, no, we will not have any UFC.
Breaking Miguel, it's like, oh, who's coming?
No. I'm simply reporting, don't shoot the messenger. It was merely him saying, yeah, not a chance in hell, I believe was his exact words, that they're going to have any UFC fighters cross over. So much for that. That didn't last too long. Because, I mean, that it makes sense. It wasn't like, I mean, fuck, I think Jake Paul even tried doing that shit. It's like, get some, with Anderson Silva and Tyron Woodley in the boxing card, right? So it's like, well, fuck it. Why not? It gets more eyes on here. But he's like, no, and you know, people ask him, Tuporia, the champions, right? Alex Pereira, like, no, not a chance in hell. So I guess he's gonna have to make some stars pretty fast. He's got from now till August, late August, right? September, when the season actually starts, to start getting some names, start creating some stars, because otherwise, I don't think people are going to tune in. But I wanted to throw that in there because he said, I think his exact words were, "Not a chance in hell."
Well, that's a big mistake by Dana, because that could really help Zuffa at least start getting the more eyes that they need, right? Because while I talk shit about the UFC Paramount card, it was reported by De La Hoya that the first Zuffa card only got 200,000 homes. That's a bad night on a at 1 a.m. Who used to fight at 1 a.m.? Was it Tuesday Night Fights? Their main event would go off hella late. In the East Coast, it was damn near,
really?
first thing. Yeah, because Tuesday Night Fights was on late in the West Coast. So it was like midnight or something when those guys used to get in the ring back then. And it was on, USA. So their ratings were never that, not through the roof like a HBO. But Dana had it on at 6 p.m. It's a big difference, you know what I mean? So we got to get more than 200,000 views. So we will see.
Well, what else did Dana have to say about Zuffa and boxing and their current stance? Well, he certainly doesn't like that everybody, quote unquote, everybody in boxing is undefeated. He said it's not going to happen around here. He says everybody is undefeated in boxing. That will change, says Dana White. He is aiming to put, quote unquote, the best fights in Zuffa boxing, and that means fighters are going to lose, plain and simple. So it sounds kind of I don't know, sus that the promoter or the guy who runs this shit is saying, yeah, I'm going to make sure there aren't any undefeated fighters. That's going to change around here. It sounds a little scary. I don't know if you're going to want to, go in there as an undefeated fighter and be like, cool, I want to get to, 50-0, whatever, right? That benchmark that Floyd left. And Dana's like, no, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. Well, damn. Do that shit down real fast.
Remember when you used to brag about your undefeated stable and had it made you look like a good promoter? Like you knew what you were doing? He's going the opposite way with it.
Like, I'm going to have guys with 10 losses, main eventing my shit, have the Ring Magazine belt on them.
Yeah. I don't like it. If I was a young man who's undefeated, I'm kind of nervous going into that room to see what plans he has for you. I guess the guys that do remain undefeated will be the best of the best. Unfortunately, there was a post that went viral recently, and I think that's why Dana brought this up. There was like 35 undefeated fighters in boxing and only 3 in the UFC. Did you see that? Did you see that last week?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there is like comparison of undefeateds in the sports, and yeah, it was only like 3 active undefeated fighters in the UFC roster, and obviously boxing had a whole fucking page full. I just don't like. It's just a bad thing to say as a boxing promoter when we are programmed to think that the undefeated guys make the most money. I don't want to hear that no one's going to be undefeated.
Now, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it wasn't that he's like, I'm going to have these guys lose all the fucking time. Because you look at somebody like Teofimo Lopez with, 2 losses or whatever. It's like, oh, that guy's still a top-notch fighter. I have to assume that's what he's talking about. But don't fucking say it. Don't come out and just say it, like that. How is that? Everybody, it'll make all the undefeated fighters in your stable be like, oh, what the fuck? Like, now put them on edge. And chances are they might not come out and fight the way they normally would, because now they're too concerned with that shit and thinking that they're gonna get their fucking O's removed. But that's the kind of thing you want to say, especially when you control everything and you've been. I mean, there's this really funny old meme from Japanese comics. That's not a meme. It was just a Japanese comic strip of Dana White. And he's like, puppets and holding these UFC fighters that are fighting against one another, right? That was what they were doing back then. That's kind of the way it was in the early 2000s. That was a joke on Dana. It's like you can't be saying this shit, man, and you be the one running the show.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But I thought it was funny. I just want to throw that in there because it's like, dude, this dude, I don't know. I mean, he must be a quote machine right now because, I think it was no way in hell. Confirm. I'm going to correct that. No way in hell that we're going to have UFC fighters make the jump. And now apparently we're going to have, we're going to make sure that none of our guys are undefeated. one of the many changes they want to make to boxing, I suppose, for the better. I don't know. Anyway, but anyway, that pretty much wraps up all I wanted to talk about. Andrew, was there anything else you wanted to add to this before we call it a show?
Nope, that is it. As I will continue after this, turn off the lights and sit in the dark. I think she's lighting candles out there, to be honest with you. I think we got the candle thing going on.
It's kind of funny, HBO used to have boxing after dark. This is boxing talk in the dark. This is essentially a spinoff of that, in case you guys weren't aware. In fact, we're gonna do that every fucking show from here on. We're gonna just turn off the lights, and then we're gonna have pretty much like ghost stories with the flashlight under our chin from here on out. But that is going to wrap it up here. As I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, it is fight week officially for Fundora and Thurman. So we're going to leave that to Wednesday because we're going to talk about it in great depth, of course. And of course, whatever news pops up between now and what was it, Tuesday, I think that Oscar said.
Tuesday, yep.
So I'm sure we'll have something to talk about then. It better be something good, maybe more details in regards to this DAZN non-exclusive signing. But we're going to, of course, talk about Thurman and Fundora and give our predictions and so forth. Then I'll take a look at the odds and so forth. So we'll be ready for that on Wednesday. But that is going to wrap it up for us here. For my co-host, Andrew, don't get it twisted, Lapiche. I am Miguel Antonio Barragan, a.k.a. Fight Fiend Migs. And this has been the Mad Boxing Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Take care and peace.